Hi, and welcome to Untethered with Jenless, the podcast that's here to help you free yourself from the crap that's holding you back so you can claim the life you're meant to live. I'm your host, Jen, and in this episode, we're going to talk about what to do when you hit a dip. Let's dive in. Hi, it's Jen. Before we kick off this episode, I want to make sure that you know that starting today, June 29th, I'm having a 3-day live event on Zoom. You can sign up for this event up until the moment that we go live. It is jenless.com/unleash. And if you can't come today, it's happening again tomorrow and on Saturday. So I would love for you to be there for it. It's going to be so amazing. We are going to help you find your purpose, step into your power, and live your dream life. Step into your dreams. Start cutting the tethers and leave those limitations behind. Come along with me, jenless.com/unleash. Come unleash your magic with me. Now, let's get back to the episode. So I'm recording this episode today from my hotel room in Boca Raton, Florida. I'm currently looking out at the sparkling water through a couple of palm trees. It's a bunch of yachts just below my room on my off of my balcony. And this is the most spectacular hotel I have ever stayed at. Ever. It is freaking beautiful. And I came here as part of a team who was putting on a retreat. This retreat was full of so much love and so much amazingness. I mean, the joy and the heart, I mean, it maxed out my capacity for how much love and how much joy I could receive. And I'm going to get into that a little bit. And I think it's a really, really important part. And in this episode, I really want to dive into, and I share all of this because there is something that happens to us when we have so much goodness in our lives. This happens to every single human being at some point because we all have a certain capacity for how amazing we can feel in any given moment, depending on your life experiences, depending on your family's history, depending on the things that have been placed on you, the things that you have gone through in your life, the amount of joy that you have experienced up until this point, you have a certain capacity for joy, for abundance. And not because you don't naturally have this capacity. We actually have a boundless, limitless capacity for joy and for amazingness and for magic and for wonder, because we are all made of the same stuff. We are all here to have a glorious experience and actually to make the experience that we're having better for everybody else. Like, that's just the truth. And yet, we have armor, as Brene Brown calls it. We have tethers, as I call them. We have all of these things that keep us at a certain level for the amount of joy that we can experience. And it is our job in this lifetime to shed those, to cut the tethers, to remove the layers, to get back down to the core of what we really are, which is boundless love and joy. That is the journey that every single one of us is on. Now, this is a Thursday thread. It's a Thursday thread. We are threading back to Kelly Pender's episode on Tuesday, where she talked about how to manifest all the things that you want in life. Like me, Kelly is telling people you are made for more. You are made to deliver more joy. You are made to receive more joy. You are made to have a magical human experience here in this world. And you are here to help other people have more magical, to shed the layers, to untether. We are all here to be doing it for each other. And shit gets in the way. Shit gets in the way of that. And the real reality is that we are getting in our own way. We are getting in each other's way. We're like stepping on our own feet and other people's feet. And it's like we're all trying to lead the dance. You know, like if you're trying to dance with a partner and you're both trying to lead, you're just stepping on each other's toes, and then you're running into other people, and it's just a nightmare on the dance floor if everybody's trying to control everything. The truth is that we are all being led. You're being led to something. And it's when you finally realize that, that's when untethering, that's when shedding the layers becomes so much easier. When it's just like, oh my gosh, I don't have to be the one. I don't have to be the one to figure it all out, to control all the things. I get to simply allow it to happen. But it's so scary. It's so scary to allow that to happen. So I want to tell a little story today. I give that preface because something happened to me this week in this beautiful hotel where I hit one of my tethers. I maximized, I hit the capacity for joy. I hit my joy breaker box. So it's my belief, and this is really comes from the idea of Gay Hendricks in the book, The Upper Limit. If you haven't read The Upper Limit by Gay Hendricks, please read that book. It's so good. It will have so many good reflections for you on the things that keep you from moving into the next level. We all have a breaker box inside of us that is our current, due to our limitations that are placed on us, that we've placed on ourselves throughout our lifetime. Some of them we were born into, others we gathered over time. No, you weren't created as, there is a difference. You were a sparkly ball of light. When you were first created, you were perfect. And then as you developed, even in the womb, like you gain stress and you gain all of these things start to come on you. And so then those are your tethers that throughout your life you gather, and then you come to a point of unraveling, right? So we have this joy breaker box inside of us that is set at a certain level due to our experiences, the things that we have received from society, from culture, from family. It's set at a certain level. When you have a joyful experience that exceeds your current capacity for joy, that exceeds what the world has told you, that you believe, that your family has told you, that everything has told you, the amount of joy that you can receive, you exceed it, you blow. It blows. It just shorts out and it's lights out at that point. It knocks you to your knees. So a lot of times you will have an incredible experience, and the very next day or even the very next moment, it knocks your knees out from underneath you. This happened to me this week. So staying at this amazing hotel, and I'm impressed with myself really, because I'm very aware of where my thermostat has been set in the past. I'm like, I am just receiving all of this goodness. It feels so good. I'm just enjoying it. I'm not diving into any like worry or festering about things. I'm just simply enjoying this amazing experience. And then, so this hotel is so lovely. I'm going to a team dinner for the retreat that I'm helping out with, and my mentor is going to be there. I'm like, oh my gosh, this is the first time I've ever gotten to have dinner with my mentor. This is so amazing. It was so beautiful. And she asks me to do breath work here at her retreat for her beautiful community, for herself. She's going to participate too. She asks me if I will offer breath work on stage. Y'all, this is kind of a big freaking deal, right? Like imagine somebody who you are like, this person, if they asked me to do this, like it's like one of those moments, right? This is one of those moments for me. And of course I said yes. And I was so excited. And I felt incredibly confident. Like I know that I can do this. And I get up there and I do the breath work the next day and it's amazing. I mean, she gives me a huge hug afterwards and says, that was amazing. She like grabbed my shoulders. And people afterward are coming up to me and telling me these stories of the experiences that they had. One woman came up on stage and said that during the breathwork experience, her mother who had passed came and visited her and told her this beautiful message. And other people are coming up and sharing similar, just like huge moments that they had during this breathwork. Now, something to know about breathwork is that when you do it in a collective, it can be incredibly powerful. And there was definitely a thread that was happening in the energy of this particular group of women that really moved some major mountains for people. And so it was a very powerful session. And I was just like, hark the herald angels sing. There's just angels trumpeting and it's glitter and it's magic. And I'm like, this is like, oh my gosh, this is the most amazing experience of my life. And then the next day, y'all, I was like a festering ball of I don't even know what. Like no matter what happened, what I said, what somebody else said, my brain was going in the dumpster. It was like, you suck. Why'd you say that? You know how when you say something and then your mind starts like telling you all these stories about what you said, like, oh, they think you're stupid. Why did you say that? All of those things that was happening in my brain, no matter what I did. It didn't matter if I just like went up and got an egg at the buffet. I thought that the people thought that I was weird or, you know, just like my mind was out of control, opposite of what it had been the day before. And I got about halfway through the day before I was like, holy baloney, Jen, your joy breaker flipped. It had flipped. I had hit my max capacity the day before for the amount of joy and love that I felt like I deserved and could receive. And I flipped. And that is what I was experiencing, was this incredible dip after an incredible high. And when you think about it, it makes a ton of sense. Because first of all, for every bit of lightness, there is dark. And every bit of darkness, there is light. So there is always a push and pull happening in the universe, always a push and pull happening in our lives. Our bodies are seeking balance. So when we go really high, it's going to pull back to try to balance us back out. And that is exactly what happened here for me. I went so high that my body, my mind, everything felt unsafe. I know that this can sound wild, but it is unsafe to be out of your regulated zone to your mind, to your body who is not used to being in that place. So in order to get me back into stability, my body was like, we got to get her back where it's safe, which is in the fester worry zone, in the this doesn't feel good zone. We've got to get her out of joy and get her back down. So I was pulled way back so that I can end up balancing back out. Where it went well for me is that I became aware of it fairly quickly, that this was going on. And I was like, okay, it's time for me to stop, take a moment, nourish myself. I went, as soon as the day was over, I went and I got in the ocean and I let it cleanse. And I ended up taking a huge bath, like things that I know help me to balance back out. I did some breath work. I ate some really good food. I had some really good conversation with people. I did things that I knew would nourish my heart and my soul and remind me that joy is safe. I actually also did some somatic safety exercises like havening, where I gently touched my arms and told myself it is safe to feel this much joy. It is safe to feel this much joy. These are things that we can do for ourselves to pull ourselves back into the safety of the level of joy that we have. And the cool thing, this is going to happen to you. It's going to happen to you. It's already been happening to you in your life. It happens to all of us at every level because we are all the same. We are all made of the same stuff. When it happens, the beautiful thing is that if you can signal to yourself, if you can nourish yourself, if you can pull yourself back into the reality and the awareness of what is happening, can signal to yourself, it is safe for me to feel that much joy, and to remind your body that it's okay. So then you visualize yourself back in that level of joy that you were the day before. Allow yourself to go back there mentally and physically and relive the moments of the splendor that you experienced. So for you, that could be the moment that you were in Hawaii with your family and you're all snorkeling and it was just so cool, and you're inside the school of fish and then you just see them all swimming around and you see these sea urchins, or whatever that moment might be for you. That's like, it was just so good. That so good moment, the more you can allow yourself to feel it and to go back to it and to signal to yourself, it's safe for me to feel this good. It helps you to expand your capacity. Like, you think about a breaker box. Like, sometimes you charge too many things up on one single, you plug too many things in on one single outlet and it blows it. It's the same thing. Somebody might have to come and expand the amount of electricity that can flow through that particular spot in your house. You're doing the same thing for yourself. Like, okay, when it comes to experiencing love and joy with my family, I need to signal to myself that it's safe at this capacity. And where we can see that something could use a little bit of expansion is when we find ourselves festering, worrying, going into fits of rage, whatever that thing might be, like getting irritated at your husband when something's going so well and all of a sudden you're fighting, you're likely hitting your joy breaker. So what we can do is simply step back with awareness, with compassion for ourselves, and say, it's okay. It's okay that this has happened. It's okay that you blew up at him. It's okay that you had this experience and that you pulled yourself back down. And it's safe for you to feel that good and to remind yourself and to really feel and go back to those feelings of how amazing it felt. So going back to my story, for me, I stopped and I visualized myself up there on the stage, and I visualized the women who came up to me afterward and who said, that was so amazing. And then the next day I woke up and I went back to the retreat and I was back to that feeling that I had had the day before. So yes, I had the dip on the one day, and then I came back actually even higher than I was on the day that I had delivered the breath work. And when people were still coming up to me and sharing their experiences, I was able to hold so much more capacity for them because I had held so much more capacity for my own joy. So then when they were telling me all of these amazing things, I didn't have any of those thoughts of not enoughness for myself because I knew that I could handle that level. So I share this. I mean, it's a little bit vulnerable of a story to share with you because it just happened to me. And I know that it happens to all of us all the time. And so I hope it's a beautiful reflection for yourself, because if we are going to, as Kelly said in Tuesday's episode, manifest the life of our dreams, manifest our dreams, to pull in those things that you really, really want. Like, if all of a sudden the life that you wanted just dropped into your life today, is your breaker box wired for that? Are you actually wired for that? Or would you trip? Would you go on a spiraling trip? Most of us would. That's why in breathwork, we call it titration. You take it in little sips. You don't all of a sudden just wail out and do this really wild breathwork. You take it in little tiny sips so that your body can feel what it feels like to expand a little bit here and a little bit there. And so you can have the little dips and you can recover from those dips even stronger than you were before. And one of the ways that we get stronger and stronger and stronger is to visualize ourselves receiving more and more and more. So the more you can live physically live in those experiences, in your visualizations, feeling the feelings of unadulterated, amazing joy, the more you can go back to that moment of, snorkeling with your family and how good it felt, the greater your capacity for joy becomes. And then when those things magnetize to you, that feeling that you're feeling, everything's energy. So that feeling that you're feeling actually magnetizes more experiences of that feeling to you. When that comes, you're prepared for it. You've felt it before. It doesn't feel foreign. It doesn't feel unsafe. And then you get to enjoy it. Sometimes without a dip, often without a dip. If we're really doing this correctly, we have much smaller dips. So if I go back to what could I have done better, I could have visualized even more and really lived those feelings even more than I had. I had done some visualization the night before. I didn't have a lot of prep time for this breath work that I did. She asked me the night before to do it. So I didn't have a ton of prep time. But if I had prepped on this visualization, like what I did when training for a marathon for weeks or for months, visualizing that finish line, that's why people do this. You visualize that finish line and it just pulls you toward it. And then when it happens, you're so ready for it. You're so ready for it. And then you don't have such a huge dip. So my hope for you after listening to this episode is that you can identify what is something amazing that I would love to happen in my life. What is something that you could do? What is something that you could experience? What is something that you desire? Now, close your eyes and take some deep breaths and allow yourself to feel that experience. And as you allow yourself to feel that experience, notice what comes up. Does it just feel so yummy and good? And then 5 seconds later, you start having thoughts of, that couldn't possibly happen. Oh, you'd screw that up. Oh, nobody's ever going to offer you that opportunity. What comes up? And when you notice those things that come up, have compassion for them. 1, say, it's okay that I'm having that thought. It's expected that I might have that thought. It's normal for me to have that thought, and it's okay. And then say, it is safe for me to feel this good. It's okay that this thought of worry is here, and it is safe for me to feel this good. This is how you expand your capacity for joy so that it trips at a different spot. Again, it's going to trip again. It happens. This is something that happens to everybody, and it's okay. And when it does, you get to have compassion for yourself, as I did the other day and as I just walked you through. And then you get to do things that help you to reset it, to signal safety to yourself. And then you get to grow even more. And this is the journey of life. This is the journey back home to ourselves. This is the journey back to your greatest joy, to your boundless joy, to the amazing amount of love that you can experience in your lifetime. I'm not perfect at this. Nobody is perfect at this. The only way that we can become perfect at this, my mentor said this yesterday to this group of women at the retreat, the only way you can become absolutely perfect at it is to transition into whatever happens after we are in this place, because that's where everything is perfect. So in this human experience, we are always going to have resistance. You're going to hit it. Your breaker box is going to flip. And it's cool. It's okay. It's part of exactly who we are. It's what we're here to do, is to continue untethering, to continue shedding these layers. So whatever that thing is that you want, make it your homework today to feel it, to allow yourself to feel so good. Maybe it's staying. You can look up this hotel that I'm at today. It's called the Boca Raton Resort. It's beautiful. Maybe it's, I want to stay on a balcony. I want to look out at those palm trees. I want to go get on the little water taxi and go out to the beach and enjoy the waves. You can go to my Instagram and see some of the really beautiful beach that's here. You know, Like maybe it's that. Maybe it's something entirely different. Whatever it is for you, visualize it, feel it, signal safety to yourself, have compassion for the pieces of yourself that might not feel safe, and allow yourself to dream. Thank you so much for listening. I hope you got something out of this episode. If you did, I encourage you to share it with a friend. You can always take a little screenshot, share it on social media, tag me at UntetheredJen on Instagram. I will always reshare your posts if you tag me. Thank you again so much for listening. You just keep shining your magical unicorn light out there for all to see. I'll see you next time.